today's episode of PJ on the Beard, we're going to take a look at my non-pedalboard pedalboard.
Hashtag why PJ needs a board.
Yes. I have a few. I've just got lazy and I figured this was the easiest way to audition pedals, I suppose. I don't know.
This is the build-up. It's been about a year-long build-up to actually picking what goes on said board, putting board together, and finding all the parts and pieces.
This is not like a GoFundMe deal.
Right.
This is not just for 85 cents a day. You could support a musician with no pedal board. Although if you want to join the membership group, you can.
So, yeah, we're back at the church. We play here every week. This is how Pat and I met. Actually, you on this side of the stage and me on that side of the stage. And part of the whole thing behind the channel was like just a chance to get together and start talking about what gear we use. So I don't know. I feel it's going to be enlightening for me to sit over here and watch him go through his carpet board.
Yes,
and
that's right. It's a $30 faux Oriental carpet down there.
So we start with single chain.
Yeah, I have a Barber tone press that I tend to use more with a single coil. I'm playing my PRS hollow body today, hollow body 2. So I may or may not use the compressor, but that's first in the chain, obviously. Goes into the Ernie Ball VP Junior that I honestly occasionally use for swells, mostly used for silent. And it has a tuner out. So I have a Korg pitch black tuner there. And then we kind of start with the drive section. I used to be a 4 cable guy. I'm not saying that I won't be a 4 cable guy in the future, but for now I'm a 1 cable guy I don't use the loop. So with that, I have 3 drives. I'm using the Caline Pure Sky. I've used other things in that position. I'm looking over there because I have the Rockworks pedal I've used there, sort of as like kind of a boostish, very light overdrive. Clonish. This was like kind of like a Timmy, actually. I think it's supposed to be. So like a light overdrive, although it has more to it. Then goes into the Walrus Ages, which has 5 different options. I have it to the far right to use mostly as rhythm, and which we'll get to that. Then I have the PG-14 from JHS, which is kind of funny because the first time we ever interviewed Josh, he flashed it up on the screen like that because it got released the next day. I was kind of drawn to it. Love Paul Gilbert, can't play anything like Paul Gilbert. Love Eric Johnson, can't play anything like Eric Johnson, but they're kind of like they accidentally trapped Eric Johnson in this box as well. So I pretty much just use that for lead. It gets really fuzzy, maybe a little fuzz-facious, kind of like some of the tone that Eric Johnson's known for on his violin-like lead tones. Don't get your expectations too high. Then moving into the modulation and delay section, I talk about all the time that I have a tap tempo tremolo, right? Courtesy of DLS Effects. Dave Fustino has been great to the show. This is the one that lives here. I gush about the Hamstead all the time. I love the way it sounds, but this is the one that lives that I play every week with. And in part, A, it sounds great. B, it has a tap tempo, which I was never really a tap tempo guy, and I can get away without it. I'm currently playing this week somewhere else, and nothing on my board is tap tempo, and it works to include a tremolo. But that's a great tremolo. Love it. And then it goes into, the crazy high end Behringer Ultra Vibrato that I'll show you how I use it. I really only use it kind of at the end of phrases, the end of a chord, because if not, it's very, very C-sticky. Then it goes into a Carl Martin Red Repeat, which I tend to like analog delays. Again, no tap tempo on that one. And then it goes into I always have to look for the Lovepedal because it's so hard. It's the HSR3. It's kind of a reverb, kind of a modulation pedal. I use it for shimmer, which I really like this one. Our friend Brody, we talk about on the show, was the most non-pedal guy you ever wanted. We tried going down the shimmer route. It was really kind of weird. I have a Grand Canyon over here, but this one you can play full chords and really kind of.
It's not hard to tame. Some of them are hard to tame. Yeah. They're either way too much or they're not enough, and this one seems to sit right in the middle.
Generally, play through a Mesa Boogie Transatlantic 30, but it is in the shop getting some love from full custom. So I have the trusty. We have matching heads, a PV Classic 30 head, into probably my favorite cabinet, Mesa 212 30-watt closed back cabinet. Probably gives me more lows than I should have, but I love the full sound of that cabinet. Been my favorite cabinet for years. So I guess the clean reference tone on my guitar, you can split the coils, and a lot of times for a lot of the clean stuff, I use split coils. So my clean reference tone. So that's how the delay set. There is some reverb in the amp.
It's funny that when I started playing here, I was not a PV fan at all.
Right.
Your Classic 30 was sitting over there. I've been using. I mean, it's been, I don't know how long it's been, 3-4 years.
Yeah. I think you finally retubed it for me though, if I remember correctly.
And then I think we're your tubes.
But he put them in, so technically he retubed them.
I liked it enough that I went out and bought one, and now you're using mine over here. So you have my head, and
yeah, right.
And I have your PV.
This is
over
usually
there.
at the studio, if you will. But when the Transatlantic went to the shop, this one came over because it's just super easy to use. Yours was modified. It's nice. Yours has a standby switch or whatever. We're kind of getting into the weeds about the amps, but
great
definitely
amps.
Bulletproof. Yeah, bulletproof.
Just a great amp.
I can thank Brody for that. I've got all kinds of cabinets in the back room over here.
If you see a used Classic 30 on Craigslist, pick it up.
Buy it.
Yeah.
Buy it. Especially the American-made ones. The heads, I don't know if all the heads are, but anyway. So that was a clean tone. I'll give you a flavor of the tone press. Like I said, I don't always use them with my humbuckers, but here's without. So probably a lot of times, I'm gonna turn that back off. A lot of times I might play clean, we're playing something. But sometimes I just want a little bit of maybe top end sparkle or a little maybe heavier, so. That's how I use the Pure Sky, and I'll turn the tremolo on because I like the tremolo with the Pure Sky together. But that's why I love the DLS, because you can do that. Just obviously tap tempo.
No, because it sounds great too. I mean, it has the initial, it sounds great, and then the tap tempo over. We had said in that other video, if we had to pick we'd be hard pressed to pick our top 5.
Right.
I know the DLS and the ham set would both be in the top 5.
For sure.
Yeah.
And again, it's not just about the tap tempo, but really, because I have a Diaz tremolo that you can do cut time, but this one's great. So that's how I would kind of use the Pure Sky. I stack them occasionally, but so for the Walrus, and I should have looked it up. I have it on the 5th setting all the way to the right. Maybe we can look up what it is. I basically use it for a rhythm sound. So that covers that territory because, we play pretty upbeat, powerful music. So if I'm opening a song or something, or we get to a big part of a song, I can do that. You can stack them together. I don't do it all the time, but. It just kind of brings a little top end back in there. And then, this is probably going to be loud. So the PG-14, I basically use for lead. I know I can probably roll the volume back. I'm not a volume knob guy for the most part. But I would use this for lead. It's probably going to sound real brash out of context, I think. But But you can hear a little bit of that singing characteristic. It's again,
when I hear that, like, it's so funny because your tone is so different than mine, which helps.
why it works, right?
Yeah, it helps. But when you kick that on and you go into those singing leads, I'm always like, oh, that sounds so good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I mean, not that I couldn't cover. I mean, I could cover some more mellow little things with the Pure Sky and occasionally with the Walrus. But I want something that's a little bit more over the top. So volume wise. I use that. It was interesting to try to kind of tame it. And it's very different with different guitars. I mean, it wants to go with these F holes. But I mean, it sounds good with all the guitars, even with a Tele. So that's kind of the drive section. So if I went back to the Pure Sky and I was playing, I don't know, what am I playing? I would just put it at the end of a chord mostly. So if I was like,
yeah, like the end of a song, end of a chorus, something like that, where there's something's getting held out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just at the end of a phrase. It gets very seasicky if you don't. I mean, I like the momentary latch, which is nice because you can do that.
I was just going to ask you about
the thing is it's kind of, I'm right-footed and I'm wearing appropriate shoes for shooting foot today. I do have slides over there if you want to see my feet. Nobody wants to see feet, right? So, but it's kind of like I have to like kind of step over here, but I could probably become ambidextrous and try to use my left foot on this. But I love the fact you can just hold it down, you know, because if I held it down the whole time and played. It's not the worst because I have it pretty tame. Took me a little while to dial that in.
Honestly, that's an effect. There's two effects that we've talked about lately that have never been on the radar. That and the treble booster. Mm-hmm. And I'm both of them starting to really like that. And that pedal, I mean, it's that Behringer pedal. It's not a real expensive pedal.
Right.
But that latch feature and the ability to do that and then hearing that, you know, on Sunday mornings, I've really started to like that and understand, I guess, how you would use it more than just leaving it on all the time. It's pretty slick.
Right.
It's nice.
I do like it. One trick pony. I'll leave the delay set the way it is. It works. The last pedal, and we may have a visitor here in a second, so we may have to cut. I heard the truck pull up. It's the Lovepedal that I talked about using as shimmer. So, well, I guess you know what a G chord sounds like. It sounds a lot like this, right? If I turn this on, so it doesn't have the hold feature that there's a Nemesis you were doing that with, but you can kind of get a pattern there. But if I started to play, it would try to track with all of that. But as far as an ambient kind of shimmer pedal go, I like that because, you know, my understanding of shimmer, it's octaves, it's different octaves with, and sometimes they're kind of randomized or whatever. You know, I'm showing my ignorance here, but a lot of times it like picks up kind of a weird note, and you're like, I don't want that note. This one's kind of true, like it tracks really interestingly. So I don't use it maybe like a true shimmer, but I'll use it in maybe ends of songs, or if we get to some bridge or something, and I just kind of rake down through. Don't use it a lot, but it's there. I like it. So between the two of us, I keep pointing over there because that's where he is on Sundays. we kind of pick our spots, find that ambient moment, or someone's trying to fill that space. So that's what it does.
And that's you with tremolo a lot.
Yeah.
If tremolo is not, or if it is, or if it's not. But a lot of times you're kind of leaning to on the tremolo. I'm leaning on the Leslie sound.
Right.
And then some chorus and vibrato and shimmers and stuff get thrown in around that. But yeah.
That's it. I mean, I don't know, what I'd change. There's a few pedals over there that we kind of switch out every once in a while and try to figure it out. But I've landed on this for a little while. Still talking about building a board. And
so if you built the board, would it be this, or would you be going down other?
I don't know. I kind of feel like, and this is a private conversation, but you can listen. I kind of feel like if I built the board, because I'm using it on the other board, this would become the Millionaire.
Oh, the Millionaire, yeah.
I'd replace 55 with, 355.
Right.
I'm not saying I would go pure snobbish if I went like more of a permanent-ish board. Although this is serving the purpose, but I really like that Millionaire. I have the JHS Emperor that does have vibrato, but this works. I don't know. I probably would have a second delay.
Well, none of the other vibratos we have the latching.
I really like that, and the way I use it, because if I'm really going to go with that sound, I'm going to use a chorus that's a blend of a dry and the wet signal. I mean, this is all just the wet, right? And I've kind of tamed it down to where it does sound a little bit like a chorus, but I like it for what I do it for. Very 80s, smack a chord at the end. But I'd have a second delay probably with a tap tempo, just because there are occasions. And maybe some other modulation, whether it be a chorus or a phaser. But I mean, the general gist here is kind of what I would do. I still fight with a compressor. Sometimes I love it. Sometimes I'm like, where did my signal go? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Definitely a great one. The Tone Press is a great pedal that Dave built with a parallel,
Right. He's the guy. I mean, he's the guy that came up with the parallel percussion.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Parallel compression on the.
I can get my stories wrong, but he might have been on a bike ride when we figured it out. Who knows? That's why I don't think very well, because I don't ride a bike. So I don't know. I mean, the general gist is there. I might have another. I keep talking about, and we're rambling about other things now, but I keep talking about, wow, it'd be kind of cool to have a Leslie. But when we play together, you cover that territory, right? So I don't feel when I look at this board and I look what's over there, we have some overlap, but we have differences.
It's like I have the Emperor's Tremolo, which is great and sounds wonderful, but I hardly use it because you spend a lot of time there.
I might, the Donner Prince Pulse, something like that is Leslie-esque, but has kind of a uniqueness to it. I don't know. You're hearing unfiltered thoughts or thoughts that have been marinating for a while, and you can tell they're still not ready to go on the grill yet. But so that's what we're using now. It's been pretty consistent for, I don't know, man, a couple months probably.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's what you get.
Awesome. We there?
I think we're there.
I think we're there.
I think we're beyond there.
Yeah, well, probably 5 minutes ago. But anyway, we always like to take a minute, stop, a minute. Did I say a minute again?
A minute.
A moment and stop, and just thank everybody subscribing, hitting the like button, notification bell. Going out to Instagram and Facebook anytime you interact with the show, it really helps us out, helps us keep bringing cool stuff to you, which we like to do. It's fun. Stop out, check out what's going on the website. We have a lot of the series and stuff posted there. And big shout out to our members who've clicked the join button down below. We appreciate you, and thanks for coming in the room with us and helping decide what's going on, or eventually helping decide what's going on, or however that works. So with that,
I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear. It's always that point of like, what are we going to do? It's like a control burn in a forest fire. Yeah.